Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Sideline Banter, brought to you by the Women of Fantasy Football channel. I am Sam Holt, of course, joined by my wonderful co-host, Derek Tate, who now has internet again, though I had my lovely friend Jagger on last week, and it was a good time. Tate, happy to have you back, and I'm sure that having internet again, must feel really good.
Oh, it's lovely. And thank you to Jagger for jumping in on short notice.
Yes.
I was ruled out with that internet, and he was plugged right into the starting lineup and did a great job.
No, he absolutely crushed it. And I think, it's always fun to know that you have, when you do something like this, when you're creating content, your group, your circle grows, and to know that you have those that you can reach out to that are like, bet, I got you. It feels really good to also know that my circle, they got my back. So really appreciate Jagger May. We've had a lot to talk about. We're going into week 12. We have several buys to talk about. We have a ridiculous number of injuries to talk about and a fun little suspension we can also talk about too. So guys, before we gear up for all of that, please get your questions into the chat and Tate and I will get to them as quickly as we can. Tate, let's talk really quickly about Monday Night Football. We like to do a little quick Monday Night recap, just given that we're recording live on Tuesdays, and sometimes it's fun to talk about. Cowboys absolutely spanked the Raiders. And if you were starting CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, and you watched them both sit out the first drive of the game, you probably had some butterflies in your stomach. I know I did. I was so nervous to know what the rest of the game was going to look like, given that was the start. How about you?
I'm really curious what the hell they did in Las Vegas the night before.
Someone didn't show up to a meeting. Rumor has it they were late to a meeting. I wonder.
Sure. Yeah, maybe the meeting in the hotel lobby room where they were staying. That's where they missed the meeting in a specific time. I'm kidding. I'm speculating and making jokes about this. In Las Vegas, it's Las Vegas.
If you've watched The Hangover, you know when you're on a heater, you never leave the table when you're on a heater. So maybe it was something like that because they were in Vegas.
Maybe, but so anybody that had or was playing against like CeeDee Lamb or George Pickens and had like a 5-point lead, they were probably like, oh my gosh, there's an opportunity that maybe I could win because they're both on the bench to start the game and then they both go off. So Sam, the one thing I'm taking away from this game, why is Chip Kelly's job secure as the offensive coordinator of the Raiders? Look, I understand that their offensive line has been terrible, but real quick, 2 carries for Ashton Genty, which for 10 yards, by the way, at 5 yards per carry in the first half, to 30 dropbacks for Geno Smith. 30!
Okay, so you know that clip that they always add different things to online where it goes from that Parks and Rec episode where it says, you stand in line too long, someone looks at you wrong, straight to jail. I feel like you could list all the things that Chip Kelly did last night and then cut in that clip and say straight to jail, because it doesn't make sense to spend what you did on Genty and not utilize him at all in the fashion that they're doing.
How do you go all week? You're a professional, part of a professional football organization. Mm-hmm. How do you go all week and think that is a winning formula?
I don't know.
And the Dallas defense makes everybody look good, Sam, even bad offenses.
They do. So if I don't have the answer. I'm struggling to find words. It doesn't make sense, but I guess it could give some positive level of hope. If Chip Kelly still has a job, maybe I can show up to work late tomorrow. I can't show up to work late tomorrow, but you know what I mean? Like if this guy can get away with not doing his job, what else can we not get away with not doing? Do I have to, pay for stuff? Can I get gas for free at the gas station? Like what are the rules? What is this universe that we're living in? Because it doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't track, but at least if you were starting any of your Cowboys players, you had yourself a decent night. CeeDee Lamb having 5 receptions for 66 yards and a touchdown, just over 17 fantasy points. George Pickens with the 9 receptions, 144 yards and a touchdown. It really seemed like sitting Pickens ramped him up and he was absolutely on fire. It was a really fun clip too. Did you see where when he caught the ball and made a quick zig and zag, CeeDee Lamb just stopped running and waved goodbye because he knew he was off? That was pretty awesome.
No, it was pretty cool. I mean, it makes it even, I guess, that much fun that they showed up, missed the drive, and still the Raiders. So go figure.
Who knows? But yeah, anyways, Dak Prescott throwing 4 touchdowns, which you're not mad about as well. One of those going to Jake Ferguson. This is such an interesting stat line to me, and it kind of paints a picture to me of how the tight end position has been so hit and miss all season. He had 11.6 fantasy points, a touchdown, 16 yards on 4 receptions. It's just like you really don't know if you're going to hit or you're going to miss, and this feels like right in the middle, which is really weird because he got the touchdown, but it was leaving a lot of wanting there for him. But at least this offense has wheels. You can feel good about them going forward. I'm someone that's going to be starting George Pickens over Jamar Chase because I don't have him this coming week, but we can get to that later.
We could. When it comes to the Jake Ferguson, I mean, he was the tight end 1 in all fantasy football through the first 7 weeks
for a
of the
hot
season.
minute.
Yeah, and then we get CeeDee Lamb back into the picture, and all of a sudden that volume has dropped significantly. I mean, he still had 5 targets, 7 the week before, but then there was 1. He just seems like the clear third option in this passing offense now that George Pickens is fully ingratiated with Dak Prescott.
Yeah, definitely. It kind of makes sense that it would taper off that way. When you look at the whole season, Ferguson's still sitting at tight end 2 in terms of total fantasy points. And then for his finish for this week, he is also finishing tight end 7. So that 4 receptions for 16 yards and 1 touchdown is still decent enough to keep him in the top 10 at the position, which also says a lot.
Touchdown's doing a lot of heavy lifting there.
It's doing a lot of the work for him, and it's fine. For fantasy managers, we just count on the points, and hopefully that was enough for you in your league. But still brutal. Any last thoughts on this game before I jump into some questions and then we go into some of these injuries, because we do have, unfortunately, a lot to talk about. No. Cowboys good, Raiders bad. They must do better. I don't know how, though. You can't right the ship at this point. And I mean, if you're someone that drafted Ashton Genty, where we all know where you did, you're just hoping that you made some interesting waiver pickups throughout the rest of the season, and hopefully he is not what you're hoping and saying prayers on every single morning on Sunday.
It was funny to see the Raiders finally decide to try to establish the running game on their own 1-yard line, which resulted in the safety.
I stepped away to make dinner or something, and then I looked and I was like, did they? And I was like, I guess it makes sense to them. It doesn't make sense to me. I mean, there's just some times where I have to sit back and I'm like, I know I technically myself, I never played football. I never, made decisions on these plays. But there's times where I'm like, I don't think I would have done that. You know what I mean? I get it. Not me, not my job. My job is this. This is my job. I do other things, but I don't know that I would have done that.
Well, hopefully Chip Kelly's listening. If not, good luck the rest of the season.
Good luck, Chip Kelly, on keeping your job. Anyways, let's jump to a couple of questions. We've got several of them in the chat. Thanks, guys, for jumping in. Let me get to this very first one from Joe. Appreciate you every single week jumping in and joining us, Joe. Really enjoy getting to know and recognize everyone that's jumping in the chat and being like, they're here today and they're here today. What's up, guys? It's good to have you.
It's a party.
It is a party. Our friends are here. All right, Joe wants to know, trade away Diggs, Kenneth Walker III, Tez Johnson for Javonte and Ladd. My running backs are Gibbs, Chase Brown, Algier, and Kenneth Walker III. Wide receivers, Diggs, Tez Johnson, T. Higgins, Pearsall, and Godwin. One little addition here that he added, unless you prefer to get Waddle in return instead of Ladd. So that's the little crux here.
Right. Whether you can get Waddle or Ladd along with Javonte Williams, I would do it. Kenneth Walker III he's in a timeshare with Zach Charbonnet. I mean, it is painfully obvious. I know he scored the rushing touchdown, so on and so forth. I think the last 2 weeks combined, he's had 30 carries, which is nice. But it's just way... You understand at this point that it is no guarantee when they get inside the 5 that Walker's going to be the one that's his numbers called to be able to punch it in. So for me, Javonte is still that guy. I saw 20 carries last night. I think it was a season high. And then, yeah, whether you want Ladd or Waddle.
Yeah.
Waddle, baby. Get it? I used to do that. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I'm good with either of those for that deal.
I mean, I think looking at offenses that I'd rather have pieces of right now, I feel like Miami's a little bit too volatile. So for me, I definitely like the Javonte Ladd side, and I prefer Ladd over Waddle. I know that Ladd had, sadly, only 2.8 points this past week. However, I do feel like they will right the ship in week 13 against the Raiders. Chargers are on a bye this week, so something to note. And then they've got the Eagles, Chiefs, and Dallas. A lot of matchups that I think favor the passing game in terms of could be behind, air out the ball kind of situations. And I definitely feel like there's other pass catchers that might be held back, and therefore they would be inclined to get Ladd involved early and often.
The only argument that I could see for Waddle over Ladd is just I think there's a little bit more reliable volume, strictly because there's not as many options there.
Fair,
but yeah, I hope that Los Angeles Chargers offensive line can get it figured out and at least keep Herbert somewhat upright, because that's another factor that we kind of saw come unraveled this past week, but. Ultimately, I still prioritize Ladd over Waddle by just about that much.
I feel like the margin is we're splitting hairs between the two. It kind of end up going with whichever one you prefer. Miami also on a bye this week. Then they've got the Saints, Jets, Steelers, and Bengals. Steelers defense is looking a little bit better, so I definitely think that'll be a tough week in week 15. But the others, not really defenses that scare you for Jalen Waddle. But let's go ahead and get to, let's see, I'm scrolling through to find other questions. I love it when people chat like in amongst the chat to each other. It's like everyone's hanging out with a party. Let's see. This one from Mark. Pearsall, Tracy, or Christian Watson in a PPR flex?
I'm going to stick with Pearsall.
Why?
It wasn't pretty.
No. What confidence do you have?
Look, I understand that it was not encouraging, but Brock Purdy looked good. The Niners offense looked good. Pearsall was on the football field. I still believe that he's going to fill that Brandon Ayuk role, which eventually they're going to start connecting again like we saw them early in the year before both of them got hurt. It was the first game back for Pearsall in quite some time. So there was a couple routes where he actually created separation, one of which in the end zone where Purdy just didn't see him. So I think better days are ahead. It just can't get much worse, but I'm going to go with Pearsall.
I get it. And actually, if you're looking at the matchups for each of these players, none of them have really great matchups. All of them facing defenses that are very tough against their specific positions. So you got to go with whoever you're going to enjoy cheering for more. I guess for myself, I feel a little bit better about Tracy, just given the fact that they have so few weapons and they're going to have to get the ball to somebody. I do like that in terms of volume. Watson, they do have other pass catchers available. Dallas has had flashes and is currently, projected highest of their pass catchers. Right. So I do feel like it's a little bit of a mixed bag. So for me, I guess I want to go to an offense that has fewer options. So that's why Tracy's kind of standing out for me. The
volume makes sense. I mean, it was nice to see Tracy actually, over 130 total yards against the Green Bay defense on 23 total touches. Not bad, sir. Not bad. So yeah, I don't blame you at all for going with the volume, even though I don't really trust Jameis Winston, but he didn't look bad in this weekend. Of course, it is always possible that Jackson Dart gets back under center at some point.
Yeah, that's always a possibility. All right, let's see if I can find one more question, and then we will jump to a lot of these injuries because, like I said at the beginning of the show, we have, unfortunately, too many to go over. This one from Joe. Which QB and tight end to stream this week? Schultz or Henry? Love or Brissett?
Schultz and Brissett. I mean, Sam, I know we're going to probably talk about it a little bit on the waiver wire stuff, but Jacoby Brissett set an NFL record with 47 completions in one game.
Yeah, when I saw that stat, I was like, and as it was going, it was just like, he keeps doing it. This is crazy. Like it was so good at this point. there is no point for the Cardinals to bring back Kyler Murray. Really? I mean, it doesn't make sense for them to do so. And I mean, it was unfortunate, that, Harrison obviously was not there to get those points as well, but at least this is an offense that still has some juice, that has something going for it, especially when you've got so many other fantasy players that are dealing with injuries on bye weeks. We've got this week. There's a good bright spot here for the Cardinals.
Sam, every single start he has gotten this season, he has gone for over 250 passing yards and 2 touchdown passes. It is data at this point. It's 5 straight games. And this was without Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yes, and that's the crazy thing. He's just sitting there just watching all of his friends have fun without him. I mean,
Mr. Wilson, can I
know.
get you in 15 receptions for
it's just any of those memes where you just see someone looking out a window. I'm looking out a window just like,
I've had an appendectomy. I mean, that is so. Yeah, I mean, my stepbrother, took one of those, like, you remember those like green army toys from Toy Story? Like,
yes.
My stepbrother, kind of jabbed me with it and hit me right in the lower right abdomen. And then 2 days later, I thought I had a stomach ache, got out of bed, went to go to the bathroom, and just collapsed to the floor. And my mom looked at me on the floor and was like, we're going to the hospital, and it had partially ruptured. So hopefully speedy recovery. Feel like everything's going to be all right for Marvin Harrison Jr. But yes, he was watching his friends all have fun.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know.
Sorry, I went down the story.
I was like, oh my gosh, that sounds horrible. I mean, we all have stories as kids. I mean, how I lost my 2 front teeth is I got in a fight with my brother and I lost. But I mean,
why am I laughing at that? That's not good.
It's fine. I love my brother. We're good. And this is what you do as kids. You fight, and it's fine. But yeah, sorry. I agree with your answer. Brissett definitely over Love. It's great that Love had a fantastic game, but I don't feel like he's been as consistent this season. And you kind of have to ride with the hot hand in terms of how Brissett is performing. I do feel like they have a decent matchup too. They're against the Jaguars. You're not sitting Brissett right now. I mean, crying out loud. And then Schultz, I also like. He's been incredibly consistent. I feel like the Patriots offense has found a lot more working for it, where it doesn't have to rely on Hunter Henry like it did to begin the season. So give me Schultz here too. All right.
So we also learned, sibling rivalries. Sam, you lost your 2 front teeth. I lost an appendix. It was tough childhood moments there, all triggered by Marvin Harrison Jr. missing this week.
We all feel, if you don't feel triggered after week 11, do you even love fantasy? Do you even love football? Because I feel like there's just so many things that happen. This is a laundry list of injuries. I don't even know where to begin, or just to go through all of them and then ask you which one hurts the most. Let's do that. I'm literally just going to list them, and then you tell me which one hurts the most.
Okay.
Drake London, PCL sprain. Aaron Rodgers, wrist break, fracture, ouchie. J.K. Dobbins, season-ending and surgery. Calvin Ridley, season-ending fibula injury. Michael Penix Jr., knee, likely out the rest of the season, still pending an additional review. You've got Dylan Gabriel with a concussion. Drake London with a knee issue. Josh Jacobs, knee. Kimani Vidal, thigh. Jalen Warren, ankle. Bashal Tutin, ankle. Amari DeMarcado, ankle.
Well,
which one hurts the most? When as soon as you hear it, like we said, we could say this episode is triggering. I don't know. Which one of those triggers you the most?
Well, Sam, since you put it into the teleprompter and read it like Ron Burgundy, even though you already said Drake London to start off, you said it twice, I think subconsciously, because that's the one that hurts the most. Drake London being the player that is by far going to have the biggest fantasy football impact of the players that sustained injuries over the weekend or have recently been ruled out, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, I mean, we're talking about the wide receiver 6 in fantasy football right now in full PPR formats, and he is week to week. And Sam, with the way the season has gone for the Atlanta Falcons, he's 24 years old. He's already proven that he's a stud. I don't think that there's any real reason they're going to rush him back, particularly if Michael Penix is truly potentially done for the year. So that's the one that really hurts the most.
I agree. I feel like that one probably stands out. I think the ones that are kind of hurting a little bit are running backs that you started to feel like, okay, I drafted them late, but they're starting to pay off. Like Josh Jacobs, he's been getting it done, even with getting dinged up quite a bit this season already. Jaylen Warren, I feel like, is one that really hurts a lot of fantasy managers. Again, if you were someone that waited on running back, or, you went hero RB and then you had a large gap and then you've got some running backs later, he was likely someone that you were targeting, and he's been paying off, and that one really sucks to me as well. In terms of looking at, let's talk about just Drake London, though, since you highlighted him, in terms of who you're looking to supplement with. Knowing that Penix is also hurt is kind of compounding this one for me, because it's not necessarily like I'm looking for Darnell Mooney to suddenly go off because London's out, because now we have Kirk Cousins under center.
Yeah, and we saw Kirk Cousins earlier this year when Penix was, I think, out for the game against the Miami Dolphins, and 173 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Sure, he threw, I think, 9 completions to Kyle Pitts, but they were all checkdowns. Sure. So, yeah, there's just, to me, no matter what the matchup looks like, it doesn't really get me all that excited. Like, on paper, yeah, the teams like the Saints and the New York Jets, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Arizona Cardinals, yeah, they on paper could be nice matchups. Mm-hmm. But if you don't have Drake London, I mean, who are we really excited to throw the ball to? Yeah, maybe Darnell Mooney here, Mr. Hello, Washington, Washington from Illinois. I mean,
not necessarily. No, I mean, I think the only players that you feel good starting from the Falcons continue to be Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier, who again still holds consistent volume. I mean, last week he had 2 touchdowns. This week he gets a single touchdown, which you're not mad about. And then, as you're starting Bijan Robinson, I know I didn't, so I was very grateful for him to get his 2 touchdowns this week. I feel like the running backs are key here, and they're going to be the ones that you want to start from Atlanta. Everything else is so much more of a dart throw that we're going to go over plenty of other wide receivers in the waiver wire to look at that I think that you'll have higher hopes for.
Kyle Pitts maybe gets a slight bump just because I think he's going to be the most reliable check down option in PPR formats. But Sam, I don't see the ceiling. Like, I mean, I'm not Kirk Cousins taking over under center, even with Drake London out. It's not enough to get me excited about Kyle Pitts and think that he has top 5 upside at the position in full PPR formats.
Yeah, no, not a lot to get excited about. All right, let's talk about this cluster of running backs all dealing with injuries. There's so many of them. I think, like I said, the one that really hurts me is Jaylen Warren. I think what's interesting about the Steelers is how they've been able to utilize Kenneth Gainwell so efficiently while Warren was out, when they played the Ireland game, and Warren was out.
In London? Anyway.
Yeah, when it was the Ireland game. I really wanted to go to that one too. But
it was a Friends reference. I thought you would get it.
I know Friends, yes. I get it. I know all of my Friends references. But anyways, looking at the touchdowns that he's seeing, that Gainwell's involved in, both receiving touchdowns that he had this past week when Warren was out against the Bengals. Is every week going to look like that? Every week we're going to face the Bengals? No. They've got the Bears this week, and kind of a mid matchup in terms of how they play against the position. Bears 18th against running backs. I feel like you can still feel confident starting Gainwell if Warren is to miss this one. I'm hoping he doesn't, but if he does, Gainwell is going to be the back I want to start, because nobody trusts Caleb Johnson with a secret, a prayer, holding something. Like, they can't trust him to do anything at this point. So you got to count on Gainwell.
Receiving a kickoff. Sorry. I know. PTSD for you Steelers fans for that one. But yeah, I mean, Kenneth Gainwell, look no further than just the one game sample size that we saw against a pretty good Minnesota defense. Where 134 total yards on 25 touches and 2 touchdowns. Like, yeah, I mean, if Jaylen Warren's unavailable, then you feel confident starting Kenneth Gainwell. Oddly enough, if Warren is active for this contest, then I could see it being closer to a 60-40 split, which then makes it a bit of a nightmare also because Aaron Rodgers, his health is up in the air. So kind of want, for clarity purposes, feel like it becomes much more clear if Warren is unavailable.
It does. And, talking about Rodgers as well, he's looking to go this weekend. It is his non-throwing hand, which I think helps the decision a lot. It also doesn't look like it's a break that requires surgery, which is also important too. So they'll tape the hell out of that thing and turn it into a club. I think that he can still throw with that and it should be fine. But should he feel like he needs to sit out, Rudolph did a fine job with him out as well. Really curious to see how they stack up. I don't like it when my Steelers go into anything injured. I'm kind of surprised we honestly don't have more injuries considering we're going to week 12, and whenever we have an early bye, it just kind of stacks up on us. So really interested to see how we shape up against the Bears. I feel like I've been a very bad Steelers fan this year because every time we're like, who do you think I'm like, we could win. I'm like, that's my attitude about it. It's just like, good. We'll see how it goes. I guess it's fine.
Do you want to talk it out with yourself on the air?
No.
I can give you the floor.
No, I'm fine. It's going to be fine. Let's answer some questions before we jump into more injuries, because this is depressing. This is hard. This is worse than watching, I don't know, what's a sad TV show people watch? I don't know. You watch nothing but animation and Ninja Turtles with your daughters, so it's not a good question to throw away.
Exactly.
You're like, I don't watch TV. No. All I'm watching these days is Welcome to Derry, which is just scary clown stuff. So, yeah. It's fun for me. I don't know.
Well, I'm not going to judge. I haven't seen it. So I don't watch a lot of TV unless it involves the NFL. So
thanks, Joe. I appreciate you saying it's okay. Joe jumping in the chat saying it's okay. That's how I feel with my Chargers. This is what we love about fantasy football and football community. It's a community. We all share the pain together. It's going to be fine.
I think we all celebrated the Kansas City Chiefs losing to the Denver Broncos.
I feel like everyone took a collective breath. I think I tweeted that too. I'm like, this is the moment where, as it happened, we were all like, did everyone just cross their fingers and hope a little bit? I think we did. That was pretty funny.
I was sitting there watching that game, and Mahomes got away with that pick six, and I was like, oh my God, it's going to happen again, isn't it?
I know.
And then he throws another pick, and then the referee runs into Sean Payton on the sideline and throws a flag to negate a 50-yard return.
How do they can't keep getting away with this? It's okay. They didn't. They lost. The question that is all over ESPN right now is, will the Chiefs miss the playoffs? I feel like, spoiler alert, they're not going to miss the playoffs, but they're certainly writing an interesting script for their season.
I'll say this. If they lose this weekend to the Indianapolis Colts, and the fact that they're behind in the tiebreakers to the three teams that are ahead of them, and the division is pretty much completely out of reach now. If Kansas City loses this week, then I think it becomes a real conversation. But as of right now, if they beat the Colts, everything's fine. They'll be okay.
The Colts just look so good, though. I think the only thing that's really favorable for the Chiefs is they're at home.
Well, that and Daniel Jones has turned the ball over 7 times in the last 2 games, but just saying. They won their last one.
He's good at passing the ball. I mean, you got to say that.
And he's got Jonathan Taylor.
Jonathan Taylor can still, just Mack truck over people. Who knows? We'll see. All right, let's see. I want to get to a couple of questions that I saw in the chat before we go through some more injury news. Or we can switch it up because we're all depressed and we want to talk about something funny. We can talk about...
Cheer up! I'm happy.
I know. It's just, I'm fine. All right, this one from Cole. Should I trade CD and Otten for CMC, BTJ, and Hunter Henry?
CD and Otten for CMC, BTJ, and Hunter Henry. I mean, you're getting CMC, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, Hunter Henry and Kate Otten, no offense to Otten. I love Otten, but
yeah,
whatever. You're getting CMC.
Yeah. I kind of just look at it as you're getting Christian McCaffrey and CeeDee Lamb. He did just have a great week, but also George Pickens is having great weeks as well. It's yes for me. You're gonna want CMC on your team as you move forward, going towards the playoffs too. So I kind of like it. I would do it. Why not? And then Joe framing it this way, disgusting question, but which two do we start at flex in half-point PPR? Pearsall, Trey Tucker, Tez Johnson, or Bam Knight / Trey Benson? Which you just kind of pounded the drum a little bit for Pearsall, so how are we feeling? I mean...
I said I have faith. I mean, I'm like,
that look.
You're asking.
How dare you?
I'm like the drum boy from, like, I don't know, a musical, like just go Pearsall. No, but yes, I would go Pearsall here. I don't really want to trust a running back right now for the Arizona Cardinals. In particular, if it gets a little muddier if Benson returns. First game back from an injury. Give me probably Trey Tucker. Gives you some of that same explosive play upside that Tez Johnson does. But, Tez, right now maybe hitting a little bit of a rookie wall. It was a good game for Baker Mayfield, not great. A lot of heavy lifting for Sean Tucker, by the way. My fantasy take of him potentially stealing Rachaad White's job from 2 years ago. It's back, baby. Yeah. I'm never wrong. I'm just a little early from time to time.
Sometimes we're just time delayed. It's fine. We still have good takes.
I'm kidding. For me, Pearsall, Trey Tucker.
Pearsall, Trey Tucker, I like that as well. I mean, I think the only thing that I'm really liking for Tez Johnson is when you compare the matchup, it's a little bit friendlier for Tez against the Rams. It's prime time as well. I can feel like Baker likes a show, and he's in LA, and the last time he was in LA and had a show, he flew on a plane overnight and was playing and won a game for LA. I feel like this could be a really interesting one. So to me, I think that there's some potential ceiling option there for Tez, but I do get your safety picks between, and I don't even feel like they're safety picks, but you feel the most comfy with Pearsall and Trey Tucker between the two of them.
Yeah, that Rams defense, Sam, pretty darn good.
They're pretty good. They're 17th against the position.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, that's what I mean, I'm just saying that overall, the defense as a unit, though, is like a scoring defense. I think they're top 5 in the NFL, and they just kind of stopped the Seahawks, who were red hot heading into this contest. So,
Yeah, they were. Really quick on that, actually. When you look at just a football question instead of fantasy question, to talk shop a little bit, when you look at the way these teams are stacking up, heading towards the playoffs with so many different things to try to make it to a Super Bowl. To me, I'm looking at teams like the Seahawks and the Rams, and I'm thinking Seahawks are absolutely on a heater. They're looking really good. Their defense is insane. But you look at how McVay runs not only the offense and the defense, but the entire unit for the Rams. And when you see them get a win like they did this weekend, it's hard for me to imagine them not making a really good playoff run and being Super Bowl favorites going into this season.
Sam, they've got a quarterback who I think is the front runner right now for league MVP with Matthew Stafford. He's been that good.
Yeah,
and
he's been that good.
Devontae Adams, his one catch this week, which was his worst game as a Ram, was in the end zone, which kind of, again, saved his fantasy day. Puka Nacua is still, arguably the best wide receiver in the league right there with, JSN and Jamar Chase. Kyron Williams is solid. They've got this 3 tight end rotation, and McVay is, being creative as he always is with his personnel packages and motions, and this offense is firing on all cylinders. And defensively, they've got a lot of young pieces that are playing really well in this defensive scheme, and it's hard to pick a weakness right now. They're playing really well on both sides of the football. So, yeah, I think, Sam, they're going to be right there, and you can make a case that they should be the favorite to maybe come out of the NFC just because of how well they've looked or how good they've looked on both sides of the ball throughout the entire season.
No, I agree, and that's why I wanted to talk about it really quick because, I mean, obviously I love talking fantasy with you, but I love also just talking football. And at the same time, it's really hard to find an argument strong enough to say reasons why they shouldn't, because things are just going so well. Since Aaron Donald had retired, this had become a very young defense as well that had a lot of bright spots, and it was just a matter of when they started clicking together and working in unison as one. 300 reference, when they're all strong together as a unit, they can push forward as a defense and score. I mean, I just feel like it's really hard to imagine them not making such a strong run. Scampers in the chat saying Seahawks with Darnold cannot beat the Rams. They are scheduled to play them again at home in Seattle on December 18th. So I do feel like if they can right the ship and make an argument, then that's going to be the thing. But I don't know. I just feel like if the Rams can't lose between now and they start the playoffs, I don't see them losing.
Mr. Scampers, I wouldn't go that far. Seattle's got a lot of talent. And
they do.
Sam Darnold, kind of like Daniel Jones, Sam, we're seeing like both of these reclamation projects on both of these teams that have exceeded expectations or the expectations of many. But they still have like that gene in them that puts the ball in harm's way, or you know what I mean? Because the turnovers have crept up on occasion to bite both Daniel Jones and Sam Darnold, even when they're having great seasons.
Yeah.
Is that going to happen in big moments? If Mr. Scampers thinks the answer is yes, then that's why you believe that the Seahawks aren't going to catch the Los Angeles Rams. But I still believe in that defense. JSN is still a dude. And
his one-handed catch this weekend,
he's filthy.
It was egregious. It was wild. As soon as it happened, I was immediately in the texting several group chats of friends of just like, what the hell did I just watch? That was insane. This doesn't make sense. Redrafting today, I mean, how, JSN doesn't go top of receivers that you'd be drafting, I don't know. But I think that's enough quick football talk. We've got some more questions. We've got lots of waiver wire stuff to cover. I see a question in the chat here from Dustin. I will get to you now, sir. What is up? Would you guys prioritize Christian Watson or Emmanuel Wilson? My wide receiver running backs are pretty even. Wouldn't mind adding one, though. Also, how much fab? Thank you, Dustin, for getting us back on track, because we were definitely off the rails a little bit. And Emmanuel Wilson is a top waiver wire target, only 7% rostered, as you guys watch the fun little ticker down here at the bottom. Tate, how are you prioritizing these? Because I kind of know where I'd lean.
I'm leaning Emmanuel Wilson, and I'm not going to use a Dennis the Menace reference twice in one episode with the Wilson thing. So Emmanuel Wilson, just go with the running back, because at least in this offense, Sam, we have seen with the Packers, they are very reliant on getting their running backs touches, and the receiver position, this group of pass catchers, it feels like it could be anybody on any given week. There's no rhyme reason to really trust any sort of like target share from week to week. So give me the running back in the Packers offense as the priority.
100% agree there in terms of getting someone utilized immediately. I feel like if Shakeups is out this week, it's looking like it. You have to pick up Wilson, because I just think there's too many other mouths to feed when it comes to Watson seeing immediate usage, and I feel like there's a very direct, clear path for Wilson to have several carries. And if you're just, again, looking for balancing out your roster or maybe getting someone with good flex potential, I'm going Wilson here as well. All right, so let's see if I have a couple more questions. I don't want to miss any of them. This one from Patrick. 12 team, they're 7-4, PPR, 2 wide receiver, 2 running back, 1 flex. Trade Sutton and Woody for Waddle. Running backs are on their team Gibbs, Hendy, RJ, Woody, Tootin, Wilson. Wide receivers are CD, Egbuka, Sutton, BTJ, and Pierce. Well, we know that, let's see, Hendy, Gibbs, Woody. Tootin is dealing with an injury. He is on our injury list dealing with an ankle issue. And so this is really focused on the trade and rounding out your roster. Where are you leaning here? Because Sutton doesn't really seem to be the favorite right now with how they're playing their receivers there for Denver.
That's a tricky one.
He's falling out of favor.
That's a tricky one. I'd probably lean staying with Sutton and Woody Marks because, 18 carries last week, Sam, 14 the week before. Woody Marks has seen 10-plus carries in 5 straight games. I get that it's not a dynamic offense and certainly not a dynamic running game because of the issues up front. I know Davis Mills is probably going to get another start this week, but Sutton is still on the field all the time in this Broncos offense. Him and Nix just haven't been able to connect consistently, and I know that there's other guys starting to emerge, Sam, but I do think with J.K. Dobbins out, hear me out, I think they're going to have to throw the ball more often to really be able to generate scoring drives. We kind of saw that against the Kansas City Chiefs. They really didn't have a run game to rely on with R.J. Harvey and Jaleel McLaughlin. So I'm rolling with Sutton and Woody combination over Waddle. I get the thought process, but I'm going to stick with the 2 players over one.
In terms of volume and seeing where points go, I'm actually going to disagree with you here and go with the Waddle side, only because as I'm looking at Sutton's points, he hasn't had over 10 fantasy points in 4 weeks.
You make a compelling argument. ...
You're
not wrong about that.
Not wrong about that. It's just looking at in terms of weeks that he's popped off, they are fewer and far between in terms of where the volume is going to different players. RJ Harvey's starting to get a little bit more run. Obviously, Dobbins being out, they were on a bye this week, so not going to see anything from them. But the likes of Troy Franklin and what he's seeing, it's just as Sutton is going down, Franklin is going up. And so if you're looking for
Pat Bryant.
Yes, Pat Bryant having a great game as well this past weekend. I guess for me, I would like Waddle. And when you look at the rest of this roster construction here, I'm really confident in your running backs already. You've got Gibbs. Hendy is finally showing what he needs to. You've got RJ and Woody that you can play the matchup in terms of flex, which you would prefer. And then when you look at your receivers, if you added Waddle to this and you are PPR, you'd be starting CD, Egbuka, and you'd be flexing Waddle. So that's a healthy amount of volume and points.
So we're not split. I'll concede this one to you, Sam.
I win. I don't win that much. It's fun. Well, I don't win you over all the time. That's what I mean. In fantasy, I win all the time, but it's because we're not in any leagues together. Otherwise, I'd probably lose against you. It'd be really fun to play in a league with you just because I know how we know each other so well. We would just have each other's players and be really spiteful all season long.
So in one league, I am 22-0. I've never done that where I'm 11-0 against every individual league mate that I've played so far, and 11-0 versus the median. So
love that.
And top scorer. Let's go.
Hey.
Some of my other teams suck though, so
we can't be perfect.
Balances it out.
Yeah, no, my work league, I'm absolutely atrocious, and everyone's like, Sam, I thought you do fantasy. I'm like, I do. I try strategies in all of them. This one, I was just effing around and finding out, and this isn't my win. I'm winning in other leagues, though, and that's fine. It's all good. All right. I think that's a good amount for the questions. Appreciate you guys, too. Thank you for joining the chat. I will get to a couple more of your questions shortly, but we have to talk about the suspended news dealing with Jamar Chase. From a fantasy standpoint, you're looking at your other pass catchers available for the Bengals, and you're starting them because they're going to get utilized. I mean, T. Higgins is going to get his catches. Andre Yoshivas has shown bright spots as well in terms of being a very viable pass catcher. And against the Patriots, who are only 18th against the position, it's not the worst matchup, but it just sucks for being a Chase manager and not being able to start him because he made a dumb decision. Can we just not make dumb decisions? Like, why?
What is it with the NFL? It's truly, I've heard it called a copycat league before, right? So we hear, coaches steal other people's schemes all the time. We saw in consecutive days where Jameson Williams and then George Pickens both, decide to jump into the padded portion of the field goal post and get thrown for a 15-yard penalty. And then, oh, by the way, Jamar Chase, seeing how they basically suspended Jalen Carter earlier in the year for spitting, near Dak, or whatever the hell happened. I forget exactly
when you looked at the tape, it looked like he was going towards the ground, but it was like towards directionally. It wasn't in the face. Like,
Right. Whatever. Point of the matter is, Jamar Chase then lies about it.
I know. You don't. Ugh.
You're literally on a football field where there are cameras, pointed at you from every direction.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that they now have cameras set up in a way that they're not leaning on the chains and they're going to go to the sky and the drones to go and figure out yardage. They could have probably measured the distance that the spit went because of that's how many cameras are on them.
They'll get a virtual measurement.
Yeah, they're going to virtually measure just like where it traveled. And I mean, I'm sure they could.
Kyron Higo Coach Paint, the software. I could get yeah, exactly. Miles per hour, distance traveled. I mean, that's such just a weird thing to lie about. Punk move, and then you lie about it?
No. I mean, it's like when you steal the cookies out of the cookie jar and it's like, did you eat the cookies? No. And you've just got chocolate all over your face. Like why? Like, what is the point? What are we doing here? Like, isn't
he appealing the decision too?
I wouldn't be shocked, but at the same time, like,
what the hell are you appealing?
Yeah, I'm appealing because I don't like the decision. Yeah, that's probably the appeal. Like,
okay, so
I don't know.
To kind of get back to it, you start Chase Brown, you start T. Higgins. If you want to throw a dart at another one of the Cincinnati wide receivers, sure, but
yeah,
I'm not really trying to flex any of those other players not named Chase Brown or T. Higgins.
Yeah, I only throw in Andrei Iosivas just because he has historically had some good games for the Bengals. His biggest game was against Chicago this season where he had a touchdown, 66 yards and 5 receptions. Again, it's just frustrating because it's so unnecessary. We didn't need to be here. We didn't need to be discussing this. And it was just a poor decision and it just sucks. And I'm mad because obviously I have a lot of Jamar Chase.
It's boneheaded. It's a boneheaded thing to be talking about right now.
This one from Joe. He appealed, but it just got upheld like 15 minutes ago.
Wow, shocker.
Shocker. Ugh, whatever. I'm over it. Let me see. I want to make sure I didn't miss any questions before we get into my favorite thing that we do on this show, which is petty parlays. Those are coming up. If you guys follow along, those are parlays that Tate goes over so rigorously to find the fun bets. So before we jump into those, let me just do a quick scroll, make sure I'm not missing any last questions from any of our lovely watchers, because I really just appreciate everyone tuning in. Actually, we had this one from Joe, and I wanted to throw this up on the board. Wants to know, do you just stream on Club Fantasy? Where else can you guys find us? Make sure you're following and liking and subscribing on Women of Fantasy Football. Everywhere you get your podcasts, they will post this as a podcast on Wednesdays. And if you want to tune in live, go ahead and like and follow them there on YouTube as well, so you don't miss a single live stream as well. Really appreciate it. It's been really fun this season getting to have this show hosted on Women of Fantasy Football, getting pushed out by Club Fantasy as well. Amazing teams that are just so supportive of both of us, which I know we both appreciate. All right.
Absolutely.
Tate, it's time. It's time for Petty Parlays, where you go out painstakingly, find us the best bets, not only to create a beautiful parlay, to find the petty, to find that one extra thing that makes it a tasty bet, where it's got things like vengeance and drama all rolled into one. So take it away. What is your first petty parlay for the team?
Yeah, kids, it's time for the Tater Parlay of the day. Count them with me. 1, 2, 3 leg parlay. And last week we had to take a week off. And I learned some lessons last time, but I'll save them for the very end of this petty parlay soiree, if you will. So let's start off. Sam, who used to be the starting running back for the Green Bay Packers?
Aaron Jones, and I remember him viscerally because I'm going to get this out really quickly. I won a fantasy league on the game where he, I think, ran and received maybe 4 touchdowns in a playoff, and I burst out into tears because I won. I was so excited. So I love Aaron Jones. But take it away.
Well, guess what? He's not going to score 4 touchdowns in this contest.
Probably not.
Going to Green Bay, and the Minnesota Vikings are reeling, right? So the one thing that's been a little bit encouraging in back-to-back games with J.J. McCarthy kind of, playing consistently bad through the first 3 quarters, then kind of turning it on the fourth quarter. At least he's consistent in that way. But consistently, he's thrown the ball to Aaron Jones 6 times each of the last 2 games. So, and we've kind of seen that he's the preferred option over Jordan Mason, 65% of the snaps in both of those games over the last 2 weeks. So, Sam, in a game where the Green Bay Packers, really the options out on the outside and the perimeter just aren't really there right now as far as timing goes with Addison and Justin Jefferson and even TJ Hawkinson. I expect another busy game out of the backfield for Aaron Jones. So go ahead and give me over 3 receptions in this contest. The Packers just don't let up a lot of points. That's why I'm not going anytime touchdown.
Yeah, I think that's fair. No, I don't think that's crazy. Packers are 10th against the position, so I think it's a bit zesty to be going for anytime touchdown for Jones. But I do agree with you in terms of looking for someone that is reliable for McCarthy. I think that Aaron Jones, that's a decent one for receptions there. The second petty parlay, this is a fun one. Jets versus Ravens. What is this one?
Yeah, isn't it always fun when we talk about the New York Jets and an offense? At least it appears that we're going to have some clarity about who the starting quarterback is before Sunday, before the day of the game.
Who knew?
It appears that Tyrod Taylor is going to be starting against his former team, by the way, Sam, in the Baltimore Ravens. The problem is Garrett Wilson's not going to be out there. Ravens defense is starting to look pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and take under 150 yards passing for Tyrod Taylor, just strictly because, Sam, I don't know who he's going to throw to. Unless he's just going to dump it off to Breece Hall like 10 times, and Breece Hall happens to bust a big, run after catch or something of that nature. I just don't see how he's going to be able to rack up yards with the current collection of pass catchers there in New York. So I'm taking the under. I think Tyrod Taylor is going to have a rough day against his former team in week number 12.
I agree on taking the under here for passing yards, especially because I feel like this is just going to be a running game for the Jets if they want to see any upside in this offense. The Ravens are 23rd against the run this season, so that is a very favorable matchup. And why even try to make things work with other pass catchers when you've got Breece Hall in terms of trying to delay game script work in your favor? It just makes more sense to make this more of a Breece game than putting it on the back of Tyrod. What is your last parlay to make this lovely set of 3?
Yeah, so the last one, Sam, let me go ahead and rewind the clock. Let's go back in time. Flux capacitor still smoking in the DeLorean to 2 weeks ago, right? Okay. And I learned the lesson that I never, ever trust that a Cleveland Brown to have a good offensive day. And
we all make mistakes.
Well, yes, because even if I diagnose it correctly, which I went bold, Sam, real bold, with Malachi Corley, of all people, scoring an anytime touchdown against, oddly enough, the New York Jets. And Sam, Kevin Stefanski drew up a nice looking screen. And if Dylan Gabriel just manages to throw a screen pass accurately, Malachi Corley has a chance to score.
Yeah.
And what does he do? He basically throws it into the second row. Now, Dylan Gabriel. So what I've learned is that if I'm going to pick a Cleveland Brown offensive player, then I'm going to pick them to struggle. That's what I've learned. So Dylan Gabriel got a concussion.
Yes, he did.
So we may see Shedeur Sanders in all of his glory and Josina Anderson saying against all the odds he completes a 5-yard pass. Did you see any of those tweets, by the way? It was odd.
I don't think that he saw the passes that he was making.
Petty tweets. That's like a Hall of Famer, by the way. Against all the odds, he throws a 5-yard pass to a wide open player. But Shedeur Sanders, though, it looked rough, Sam, and it looked rough across the board. It wasn't just Shedeur. Mm-hmm. Offensive line definitely had issues. But I'm telling you, Sam, even the Raiders defense, which looked bad against the Dallas Cowboys, I think that Max Crosby, you go ahead and take 1 sack, make that part of your petty parlay. But Shedeur Sanders, if he does get the start, I think we're going to see a trifecta of just all over the place. I think he's going to throw for a touchdown, but I also think he's going to lose a fumble. I think he's going to throw an interception. It's just going to be a rough day at the office because, Sam, you're going to see the good, you're going to see the bad. I think you're going to see more bad than good.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like it's going to be a chef's platter of all things. I mean, looking at the pass catchers as well as the, how they stack up against this defense. I mean, the Raiders are 31st against the position for receivers. So if you want to just add in an anytime touchdown for Jerry Jeudy, I wouldn't mind it. That could be the one touchdown that Sanders gets going into this matchup. But to your point, I do see him getting sacked more than once. So definitely love the anytime sack for Max Crosby if you could. I definitely feel like he's going to struggle on all fronts. He's going to have some successes. I agree. This is just too brutal of a defense for him not to see some positive, but it's not going to look good overall.
That feels even a bit bold to say, Sam. Again, Shedeur didn't look ready. Now, another thing, and I'm not picking on Josina Anderson, but it was weird. She's like, Josina was mentioning, he has seen no first team reps and he completes a pass or something. It's like, of course he's not seeing first team reps. He is a backup. Like
I've seen first team reps this week.
Goodness. So it's going to be a little bit up and down. It should be better if he gets to, be a part of the game plan and the install all week and they can build the game plan around Shedeur. Yes, I think that there will be a little bit more room for optimism against the matchup too, against the Raiders. But yeah, Sam, that offensive line, it's not going to get any better. They're not going to be able to install a new offensive line over the next week. So there's still going to be breakdowns in protection, and he doesn't look to be handling it very well. And that's what scares me because he has a tendency to hold the ball, drift. And while he's a good athlete, he's not a dynamic dual threat playmaker, in my opinion, which that gets him into, he makes bad situations worse by holding the football. So yeah, if you want to bet, if you want to take something like 5+ sacks, I don't think that's that crazy.
No, I don't think that's crazy either. It's going to be a really messy game, but I think it's going to be one where that could be your dart throw in terms of fantasy production. I don't know. Trey Tucker, I like. Again, like I said, I feel like Jerry Jeudy's going to walk away with at least one touchdown, but I think that there's going to be so many interceptions, so much struggles for Shedeur going into this one that it's not really one I'm really putting too much love on.
One thing that I at least have faith in the Browns to do over the Raiders offensively is at least give the ball to their talented rookie running back.
Yeah. They couldn't do it last week. And I'm still not okay about it.
And we've come full circle by dunking on Chip Kelly. That'll do it for this installment of Petty Parlays.
Well, you definitely didn't, hold back anything on the pettiness. These are very fun. There's a lot of drama going on in the NFL right now, and Week 12 definitely has a lot for you. Guys, that'll about do it for us on Sideline Banter. Again, brought to you by Women of Fantasy Football. Make sure you like and subscribe and follow everywhere you get your podcasts so you don't miss a single episode of Sideline Banter and all the amazing other content that they have for you on Women of Fantasy Football and Club Fantasy. Guys, good luck in Week 12, and we will see you next Tuesday.